Well, we're gonna be live for a couple of hours. I put out a couple of videos this morning. One about Jim Jones. I don't know if anyone had a chance to see the video about Jim Jones. By the way, we're live on Urban Landlord and Urban Landlord Clips. If you want to catch us there, gotta figure out what we're gonna do with that John Call Presents channel. Anyone have any ideas? Let me know. You can always reach out to Portia J or me or HB or Get Craig Stanley with any ideas that you might have for the show or anything like that. Let me get here in the middle. My buddy called me. He said there was a protest at Trump Plaza. Let me see if I can pull that up. Like the liberals made their way into Trump Plaza. Let's see if I can pull that up. I'll pull that up quickly. Trump Plaza Hotel, right there in New York, close to was it Central Park? Looks like should be some video coming out of there. Let's see if I can share my screen with you, and we'll take a look at that. And while people are coming into the audience here, did you get a chance to see Trump Plaza, Trump Hotel? Was it Trump Towers? That's what it is. It's a tower. Trump Tower. Did you get a chance to see the video I did earlier today by Jim Jones, Obama, Michelle Mabel Obama? She has a Jewish group.
Protesters are inside Trump Tower in Manhattan right now, taking you out live to the scene. This is just one of the many shots that we are getting in here to our live now from Fox Newsroom. I do just want to turn up the audio for a moment to see what we can hear before I read you the details. All right, so it does appear that there is no audio on this, but as you can see, there is a police presence inside. And here's what we do know as of right now. Demonstrators from a Jewish group are filling the lobby of Trump Tower to denounce the immigration arrest of a Columbia University activist who helped lead student protests on the campus against Israel's war in Gaza. The Jewish Voice for Peace protesters are wearing red shirts, as you can see, and it says, quote, Jews say stop arming Israel. They're also carrying banners reading opposing fascism is a Jewish tradition and fight Nazis, not students. And they're saying bring Mahmoud home now. And again, if you aren't familiar with this story, Mahmoud Khalil is a permanent U.S. resident who is married to an American citizen and who hasn't been charged with breaking any laws, but he was arrested outside his New York City apartment on Saturday, and he is now facing a deportation. President Donald Trump has said Khalil's arrest was the first of many to come and vowed on social media to deport students who he said engage in pro-terrorist, anti-Semitic and anti-American activity. I do want to see if we have any more shots. We do have one outside here as I continue to read to you. You can see protesters are also outside the building. Let's turn up the sound here and listen in really quickly.
Why you're here today? I'm here because my grandparents were Holocaust survivors, and growing up, I was always told about their experience in the Holocaust. And
one thing fucking interesting to me. Everybody's a fucking survivor. Like, how the hell all these people survive and all these people died? Damn, a lot of survivors. Hitler did a bad job of letting so many survivors.
Family that died in the Warsaw Ghetto. And what we're seeing right now in Gaza is a genocide. And I was always taught growing up to fight any genocide wherever it was happening. And what we're seeing is that the Trump regime is continuing the genocide in Gaza and attacking our freedom of speech.
Makes you wonder why the hell they don't go to Israel and protest where the actual genocide is happening. Wouldn't that make more fucking sense? Go to Israel and protest where the actual genocide is happening. So what strikes me is odd, which makes me think this is not about Israel. This is really about Trump.
Here in the U.S.
And that was just outside of Trump Tower, but I did want to bring you back to this image, as it does look like some people may be getting arrested right now inside of the lobby of Trump Tower. Again, this is all in protest here of the effort to deport a pro-Palestinian Columbia University activist. And we are also getting some social media reaction in from Tom Homan, the border czar. He says, a quote, breaking in New York, wish it was good news, but more protesters are out and getting physical while demanding the anti-American Mahmoud Khalil to be released. Now they're trying to take over Trump Tower in New York City. Stay safe, New York. We are going to keep an eye to see if we're getting any more reaction in here on social media. But I did want to take you just back out live right now to this image as I do continue to share with you what we do know. Police are staged inside and outside this Fifth Avenue building. And this was ahead of the protest. So they were staged before all of this did begin. That's according to the Associated Press. Khalil's supporters say his arrest is an attack on free speech and have staged protests elsewhere in the city and around the country. We've been bringing those to you here on live now from Fox over the past several days or so, and hundreds demonstrated yesterday outside a Manhattan courthouse during a brief hearing on the case. Khalil was being detained at an immigration detention center in Louisiana, where he has remained after a brief stop at a New Jersey lockup. Columbia was a focal point of the pro-Palestinian protest movement that has been sweeping across U.S. college campuses this last year. Khalil's wife is pregnant with their first child and she says that he finished his requirements for a Columbia master's degree in December. He was born in Syria. So I do want to just turn up the sound again, as this is a breaking news situation that we are bringing to you here live. Let's listen in and see what we can hear.
What's up, Darren Nixon? All the tenants are going well, except for two.
All right. Well, we are getting multiple angles here. So I do want to head back to, looks like, an interview with
we have two having a hard time. I'm going to straighten her out today. I already changed her code. See if she's going to give me a call. Let's see if she's going to give me a call now that the code's being changed. Matter of fact, I may have to call and see, get her phone and then see what her phone number. While I'm doing this, I'm going to get her phone number.
Hi, how are you? Can I get your name for the camera?
Yes, my name is India. What's your name?
David.
David, it's very nice to meet you.
Spell your name first.
I as in igloo, N as in Nancy, Z as in dog, Y as in yellow, A as in apple.
Excellent. So why are you here today?
Well, I joined my Jewish colleagues and friends and community members to stand up against the ways that Judaism is being weaponized against a population of vulnerable people. We see historically the ways that religion has been used and weaponized to persecute people who are already vulnerable. You've seen that in the civil rights movement. We're seeing it right now with trans people. And really, it's very upsetting and very sad and hurtful, to say the least, to see something so beautiful being weaponized and being used to justify something so horrible. And, you know, it's even more scary that this is something that the average person is still confused about. You know, most of us, the principles that we're raised on, the morals that we have about treating people justly, to be kind, to be considerate, to not make assumptions, to leave judgment to the Creator. All these things are lost. And in fact, people are using their faith now to cause harm and to hurt each other. So we're here to say, not in our name, not in the name of Jews will we continue to cause harm, not in the name of Islam will we continue to cause harm, not in the name of Christianity we will continue to cause harm. And so we're here to raise our voices in solidarity with Mahmoud, who is being illegally detained, who is kidnapped by the United States government illegally. And, you know, they're trying to spin a story and say that his views for making sure that Palestinian families and unarmed civilians are safe from the persecution of Israel is in alignment with Hamas and terrorism. And so it's really, really confusing to see the ways that terrorism is being used to define peace and the call for it.
And this morning,
Premier Ford, thank you for.
And we get back to him. He has some interesting comments about the tariffs. This morning, I did a stream about Michelle Obama, Jim Jones, and who's the other? Don Robinson from Envogue. And yesterday, I think it was yesterday, we were talking about some property. I mean, just how to prepare for your future and stuff like that. And so I thought it would be appropriate to play this one. This is Jim Jones. This is from this morning. You can find it on the Clips channel, on this channel. It's a good reason why you should subscribe to both. I want you to take a listen to a snippet of a couple interviews that Jim Jones gave recently describing his financial condition. Jim Jones explains to the Joe Budden podcast that Southern artists had an advantage when it came to business and home ownership. They were already grandfathered in because in the South they own houses, while in New York it's just project buildings.
What year was like your first hip hop check?
The first hip hop check, the diplomat check, 75,000, maybe 01 or 02.
25 years. Because you know my brain immediately go to real estate and brownstone costs in Harlem 25 years ago.
Bro, I would have been $500 million up.
Easy.
I had one person that told me, you did? Like, I'm making $50,000, $60,000 a show, $100,000 a show at the height of my shit. I could have been buying houses
Per show.
You did? Mm-hmm. And that's the advantage that a lot of South artists have on us also. But that's because they didn't grow up in a big city, so dormant, and everybody stacked on top of each other. They grew up in houses, so all they know is how to buy houses on the deed. Your name signed on the deed. If your grandmother loses house, that's your house. So that's in, you know what I mean? That's in they.
And it don't be no projects like that down south.
No, nothing is houses. So they learn the financial literacy because it's there.
By default.
Yes. I mean, so it was like they have a big event. We didn't. We grew up in the projects. We grew up hustling and how to buy fly sneakers.
And that was Jim Jones there, clearly explaining that the government provided housing, stunted his growth, and made him a poorer man today. And he's trying to make up ground for things that he didn't learn because the government didn't require him to learn it, because they simply gave him the housing. And therein is a very valuable lesson there, that giving someone housing often does them more harm than good. A former Envogue singer, you guys may remember her. She's saying that she's now homeless. She's been homeless for a while. So we listened to her, and she gave
guys, for the past almost 3 years, I have been living in my car.
Well, I remember her. That's Don Robinson, huh?
I said it. Oh my God, it's out. Been living in my car. Oh my gosh.
She got it out.
If you remember, if you guys were with me, in 2020, I did like 105,000 interviews. And in the interim, I was living with my parents in Vegas. And that was wonderful until it wasn't. I love my mom, but she became very angry. And a lot of her anger, she was taking out on me, and I was her target all the time. And I was like, I can't deal with this. Like, I respect her too much. Let me get out of here. And I was sleeping in my car for maybe about a month in Vegas. And then the guy that was co-managing me at the time was living in LA, and he said, you need to come back to LA. Okay. And he said that I could stay with him. And so I was like, okay. He's like, I don't have a lot of room, but I'll make room for you. And then when I got to his place, he actually didn't have room for me. So it turned into, okay, well, I'm going to put you in a hotel for the night. And that one night turned into 8 months. Oh my God, you guys. Because every apartment that I looked at, every single time I looked at a place, I would call him and I'm like, okay, can you meet me here? I would tell him ahead of time, of course. And then he wouldn't meet me there. And so I would take video and send it to him. And he's like, no, oh my God, this neighborhood, I hate it. And I felt like he was playing games. And I knew he was playing games. And I wasn't the one. I'm like, come on.
You knew.
I'm trying to make this easier on you because financially, I know it's got to be hard. You're paying your rent and you're paying my hotel. His apartment was $1,700 a month. And then
That's a hell of a deal in LA.
hotel was over $3,000.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah. So, and I was always stressed every week because he would pay weekly for the hotel. So every week I was like, oh my God, can you afford it?
She was staying in an extended stay.
Are you okay? And he's like, no, I can't, but I'm getting it together. What? You're the one who said to go to the hotel and you're not approving any of the apartments. Like, it would be so much cheaper to just get me into an apartment. Like, what's the problem?
It'd be so much cheaper to just get her an apartment, she says. Wow, that is. And that was the Envogue lady, and there's Jim Jones. They're both probably about the same age, and looks like he's at least trying to get on the right track. I see him steady working. But then you also see this with Jim Jones. Maybe he didn't learn anything. Yeah. Maybe not this one. I think it's this one here. So Jim Jones again.
Pounds, nigga. This ain't the one you little niggas got. It's the big one, you heard? It's the 2 kilos, you heard? Mm-hmm. But I got a few kilos, you heard? That's 3 kilos. You heard? How many kilos you know Scarface at, huh? Another kilo, she love me in the morning, yeah? Another kilo, she love me in the morning. You talking about?
And there's Jim Jones.
Stop playing with him.
Clearly flossing in the church. Putting his jewelry on in church here. And he's got showing off his watch. He's putting all his jewelry on.
That's 8-9 pounds, really. 2.2 each key, nigga. It's 8.8. Not to mention the medallion. 4.4 pounds.
And this is before he said what he said about he could have been rich, half a billionaire. He just bought houses. He'd be up about $500 million. And here he is again, talking about life's regrets for Jim Jones. Life's regrets.
You could imagine what the label made.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. We got to spend hammer numbers.
And this is independent.
I mean, yeah, between touring shows and everything, that shit was coming fast in all different directions. Few years not being responsible, and that shit gone. Between couple investments and all that type of shit also, but yeah. No regrets though. Still pissed off about a couple of them, but no regrets.
How much money do you think that the label made off this one single?
Woo! If I burnt through 20 M's, then you could imagine what the label made.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. We got to spend hammer numbers.
So I got to look at like, who the hell is selling these people? It's been very curious, man. You're like, who the hell is selling all this jewelry to these people? And of course, I ran up on a guy, Johnny Dang. I think he's out of Houston. Anyone ever heard of Johnny Dang? And when you see the guy, you can be like, what the fuck? Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Right up the nose shot for you. Right up the nose. And then you see it's just more and more videos. This Johnny Dang guy is really amazing. He's done a hell of a job marketing himself. Let me see if I can play this for you. Look at this Johnny Dang like he's in Africa somewhere. And Johnny Dang here. Let me see if I can maximize this. Can you maximize this? I'm not sure if you can. This is Johnny Dang. I mean, like, these people, he's the little Asian man. He's invited to the picnic here. Johnny Dang. He's the one that sells the gold grills and stuff like that to the people. I mean, it's so many videos of Johnny Dang and all these rappers' videos. He's getting all the money. All the money. Here's Johnny Dang in a Mexican rapper's video. But here, Johnny Dang again. He's somewhere in here.
I'll be eating the booty. Let's have to get it.
He be eating the booty. Anyway, there's Johnny Dang. Like, he's in all these videos. And there's Jacob the driller. And then there's another guy, Track New York City. Yo, it is really amazing, like, how much money these guys are spending on jewelry. And I'm really amazed myself. And I just been saying to myself, like, and some of them, they all have the same jeweler, what, how you pronounce it? And here it is, and just another one. This is the Moneybag Lucci and YFN. Moneybag and YFN Lucci shared the same jeweler. Oh, yeah, damn. Look at all this jewelry. Who do they buy jewelry from? They buy jewelry from, they don't say, $1 million setup. $1 million setup. That's these guys. Fucking amazing. Like, it's fucking amazing. These guys are really, they're soaking up all the rap revenue here. Look at this guy.
Oh, yeah. 500 pointers, BBSD color. You don't hear this shit? Listen, Mike, don't get away from this shit. Yeah, 5 carats, 5 carats. That's 10, 100,000, 100,000. You can buy a Lamborghini with these.
I never seen blacks do this much math. I mean, they're doing math out here. Look at this guy. Finesse 2 times.
10 inch shine 50 a piece, 50, 50, 30 a piece, 30, 60, 90. F and G piece, that's 150.
How much is the Cuban?
200. Boom. We go 60 on the knuckles. You got to add the 250. All right, that's a quarter a piece. That's a 50 ball. The bracelet was 40. Last but not least, Richard Miller. Look at it. This ain't no fake shit.
How much was that watch, Finesse?
Man, it's fucking amazing. Not a grocery store between them. Not a store, not a building, nothing, just conspicuous consumption. I mean, it goes on and on forever. Look at this. What in the fuck is this? The future Jim Jones. They could look at Jim Jones, the history, and predict their future. I mean, look at this shit.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the fuck. Man, between the record labels and the jewelers and the private planes, all their money, they just going around dancing on stage for free. Truly amazing. Truly amazing. Wow, that shit. I got so many of these shits. People sending to me like, look at this shit. Look at this. This is NBA YoungBoy. Is he in jail? Is NBA YoungBoy in jail? I don't know. He said he got $8 million worth of jewelry on. NBA YoungBoy. $8 million. $8 fucking million worth of jewelry. Some of the silliest looking shit too. And I think NBA stands for, is that never broke? He's in jail. Oh shit, this nigga's in jail. What's he in jail for? Are they gonna be pawning their jewelry? NBA YoungBoy jail. God, I'm like, in jail. Wait a minute, he's one of the most streamed artists in the United States. Sentenced to nearly 2 years in prison by federal judge for possessing weapons as a felon. I mean, I heard the name. I thought this shit was about basketball. Well, I knew NBA, but damn, that's 23 months and how much in a fine? How much in a fine do you have to pay? $200,000 fine. Jeez. I think he has the same lawyer as all the other rappers. Is it Drew Finley? Is that who his lawyer is? Drew Finley? Yeah. Yeah, there you go. I wonder how much has he paid him? What? His bond said it $10,000 in prescription. A prescription fraud, drug fraud case. What? How many times this nigga done been in prison? What? Damn. Lawyers, the record labels, and the people that put the jewelry around their neck. Jesus, right? He's been in prison, okay? More than once. Okay, damn. 23 months in prison, they say. Portia says on gun-related charges in Louisiana. Damn, that's a rough prison. Oh, he got 5 years probation, so he didn't do prison that time. He makes a lot of money. He's a big time. Yeah. They say he's very, very big time streamer. You've never seen the award shows or anything. Okay, he doesn't get award shows. Okay, all right. What songs does he sing? What was NBA young boy? I don't know one song he makes. Songs. All right. What right foot creep? Is it, what's the best? What's the best? I probably heard one. I don't even know what the fuck it is. I don't know. Shit. Right foot creep. Hope it don't sound like that Young Thug shit. Get through this shit. What the fuck is selling? Anyway, I think I've heard this song. Matter of fact, let me hear it in the background here while I'm not sharing anymore. No, I never heard it. I never heard that song before. Okay, fair enough. Let me see how many streams is this on that. Right Foot Creep. 57 million views. Wow. Wow. You know, we talked about Michelle Obama earlier. I talked about her earlier today. Stanley, you need to get over there and support your girl. Support your girl. Because she needs all the help she can get. Let's pull up Michelle Obama's YouTube. She needs all the help she can get. Let me pull up her screen. She needs all the help she can get. And really, I don't think she's going to be able to do this, Stanley. I don't think she's going to be able to do this, Stanley. Nope. And I'm going to show you why, Stanley, why she's not going to be able to do this. Universal, so you say NBA is not on the radio either? Damn. How the hell he pulled that off? He's just super popular with young people, and they play songs all the time. He gets a push on TikTok. Yeah. Damn, that is amazing, where these young boys have figured out a way. You have to give them that much credit. He just got out of prison. Yeah, he's never really on the radio. Yeah, I can see that. The type of music, it's not mainstream. This is Booker T watching on the Black Rain. Let's see. Hey. But let's get to Michelle Obama. Looks like her views are pushing up a little bit. Give her credit for that. This is her trailer. Oh, wait a minute. Where's her trailer? Let's see. Here's her trailer. 22,000 views. That's pretty good numbers, I guess. But, you know, you think she had probably $1 million worth of publicity coming into this thing. Hell, just being the former first lady is probably $1 million worth of just goodwill there. You expect her to be doing bigger numbers than this, 22,000. And, you know, again, I think she's going to be hampered by what she can and cannot say. And yeah, I'm going to show you an example of that in a minute here. But let's take a look. Wow, does she have a live chat? What? Oh, that live chat. They're going to have to moderate that shit like no end. Let's see what the live chat is saying. What's up, Hood? What's up, Hood?
Hey, what up? You discovered the new podcast.
Yeah.
You and like 12 other people watched it last night.
I reviewed it this morning, and I was looking. I'm like, man, like, you know, I think she's gonna suffer the same dilemma that Don Lemon suffered, man. Like, the people in the chat gonna kill her, man. the comments gonna kill her. You know,
They're going to have to turn the comments off. Not just the live comments. They're probably going to do that anyway. Make it like heavily moderated live comments. But the YouTube comment section, the permanent comments, yeah, that's got to go because they're going to start making. They're already making videos about it, bro. The comments, oh man, it's bad.
Yeah,
it's bad.
Yeah, it's real bad. You know, man, like I think this really highlights it. You know, she was never. I don't think they ever were as popular as they thought they were. The media made them out to be very popular, but I don't think that was really true amongst the people. Maybe initially.
Well, I mean, the Democrats are finding out a lot of things aren't as popular as we all thought. It turns out the country is not into butt sex and transgender children events.
Definitely not. And I don't even think the racial thing is selling as much anymore.
It's losing steam. It is.
They pushed away a lot of the white women that would have been probably in the audience here. You know, I remember being in Brooklyn, right there on Atlantic Avenue, maybe it was Dean or something like that. And Michelle Obama was having an event at Barclays. Man, they had people stretched for maybe a couple miles. Women, all women.
How many years ago was that?
You know, it was a couple years ago when she was doing that. She was going on tour. Remember when she was going on tour? Was it for the book? I can't remember what it was for.
Probably the book.
She probably packed Barclays, right? Which means she probably put 30,000 people in there. And you figure in here, she did 22,000 on the trailer. And the comments, bro, I looked through the comments. We're gonna go through them, man. I mean, absolutely brutal, bro. Brutal. I would say it's mostly the people in the comments are just there trolling her. So anyway, very interesting. I think she can probably clean up some of the live comments. You'll see some of those here.
Well, you know, the other day, Gavin Newsom, because, you know, it's the trend now for all the left-wing people to try to get a podcast. So Newsom was talking to Charlie Kirk. And Kirk was telling Newsom that most of you left-wing guys can't make it in the podcast world because it's too robust. It's a robust masculine concept in and of itself.
Yeah.
The idea of two people sitting at a table or just in a room together and all they do is talk about whatever the issue is. On television, the liberals got the high ground because you could censor, you could cut the commercial, you could edit out the uncomfortable parts. But right here in this wild, wild west of the new media, they really can't make it like they are accustomed to making it. And then you have this extra thing where there's a lot of bitterness that you guys have ginned up over the years. And so if you do a show on CNN, the average guy can't get to the CNN crowd and let you know how awful you are. But you get on YouTube and we're all going to know how awful you are, Big Mike. We never stopped calling you Big Mike. And now we get to do it basically to your face because I know you read this.
Right. And that's why I think, you know, she won't be able to do this long. I think her skin is a little too thin for this. You know, this is a different world where, you know, people will get out here and say anything, you know, call you ugly, Big Mike. And I'm sure that bothers her. As we look at some of the comments here, you're going to see it like, I mean, they have been going in on the comments and, you know, she'll have to cut them off. I'm surprised they were on. Where are the comments here?
They were on because, like most liberals, Michelle Obama believes her own hype.
You think she didn't know?
I think most liberals genuinely don't understand how much hate that they've ginned up in the last couple of years. Because for a long time, the liberal movement, like, you know, the whole world was liberal. All the motion was in the liberal direction. Everything we believed it under a sort of liberal framework. And now it's all falling apart. And so there is a certain like cognitive dissonance that they're not really able to handle yet.
This has to be really heartening. You know, this has to hurt though. Like, because this is all out in the public. This is not left up to an opinion poll. This is all out in the public. Everyone can see the views and, you know, basically tell you, and they can read the comments as well. And I mean, look at it. Can you read this, Hood? I'm going to read them out loud for the people on phones. So the first comment is, what happened to the chef? You know the chef they're talking about, right, Hood?
Yeah, he's dead. I know.
But, you know, they're saying that he was killed. Black guy. Up in the, where was it? Up in Northeast somewhere. And there are 5 comments to that, 229 likes to that. 5 more comments under that. What happened to Trump is one responding back. But again, they're not talking about her content at all. This is strictly fighting in the comments, criticizing Michelle Obama. What really happened to the chef was Barry chowing down on $65,000 of hot dogs, and you found out, wow, 306 likes to that. Laugh out loud.
Well, I mean, the content is lame as hell, though. Like, oh my God. I actually, because I just found it last night as I was kind of just having a panel, just bullshitting or whatever. And I noticed that it was a conversation with her brother. Her brother really is Big Mike. It's weird how much they look alike. It's crazy. Like that's a hard resemblance y'all got for each other. But the thing is, you're having a conversation with Issa Rae. And you could have been talking to Hollywood stuff that, women like that shit. You could have talked some kind of politics or social issues or whatever, because that's what people are attracted to. But you wanted to have a conversation about friendship management. So it's 2 women and a gay talking about feelings.
Well, I tell you one thing they won't talk about, which I expected them to talk about, was race. Issa Rae is very, very, upfront and open about race, but she did not date. I didn't hear her mention that. I don't see any clips of it. And I bet you that Michelle Obama stays away from race on her show. But if you get her out in private, or if you read through her, whatever she wrote in college, what is it? The dissertation. It was about race. She's thought about race a lot, but she won't talk about it on her show. Why do you think that is?
Well, I suspect she'll move up to that point. You can't hide from it forever. And then because she is such a high profile figure, we're all waiting for her to say something about it. But that's the kiss of death. Also, the minute she says something about race, it'll be controversy.
Her brother is on his second white wife, right?
Which brother? The gay brother? Because that is a big gay man.
The brother that does the show with her, he's on his second white wife.
Unbelievable.
They're not going.
I refuse. I refuse to believe that.
They're not going race, bro. I talked to them about it on the earlier stream. Race will be off limits, even though it's in their heart and what they want to talk about. It's off limits.
No, no. Just because you got a white wife, half these race hustlers got white husbands and wives. That doesn't mean they'll leave it alone.
But I think there's so much embedded in her, hope in her, because Obama had a black wife. And here her brother has got 2 white women, and they're not even attractive. The last one's not very attractive. And we're going to pull it up in a minute. 13,000 in 24 hours. Tell me you're irrelevant without telling me you're irrelevant. I mean, nice to
There's
see you.
no way I can believe that he has a woman of any color. Do they have children?
I think he has children by the first woman.
Because, John, did you watch them interact? Like, his mannerisms give all kind of homosexual activity, bro. Like, dude, I refuse. So, you know what? If he married, so be it. But that is really seriously fucking with me.
You want to see how she looks? Here she is right here.
Yeah, why not?
Let's see. Here she is. There she is. There she is. Yeah, she is. In all her glory. You see him there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on my phone, so it's like a small screen, but I guess that's a woman.
Yeah, it's definitely a woman.
Yeah, I guess so. That's what they're calling it these days.
Let's read her background. What's her name? Because I think it's gonna you might find something interesting. Let's see. Craig Robinson wife. I think her name is Kelly Scrum. Let me make sure that's what it is. Kelly Scrum. That is correct. See, Kelly Scrum. Let's see. Kelly Scrum. Can't be one Kelly Scrum in the world. I think we're gonna find something interesting about her, but Kelly Scrum. Craig. Whatever. What's your husband or something? Is it Kelly Scrum Robinson? That's her last name here. Does she work? She need work. I don't fucking see her here. Obama? I wanted to find her here, Hood. I wanted to get a background on her. That's really what I'm looking for.
Speaking of professions, what is his what is his profession? What does he do for a living other than talk?
Oh, you want to hear it? You know what? He was a bond trader, Hood. And then he I'm gonna let you hear it. Let's see. He was a bond trader and he quit trading bonds to go coach basketball. They're playing basketball, y'all. They're playing basketball. So I think this was on this.
Don't tell me, was it girls basketball? Like everything about this guy is unbelievable.
I can't remember if it was girls basketball or not. I'll pull it up this right now and I'll show you if it was girls basketball or not. Let me see.
Listen, the Obamas, well, the Robinsons are the most mysterious family in the history of Negrodom. There's a lot. No wonder Trump said, I'm going to run for president after he went on the birth certificate hunt. Get to the bottom of this mess.
I think this is it right here. Who's it? Oh, no, I found it. I found it. Shit. Here it is. Here it is.
John, if you were talking, I couldn't hear you. You muted up?
Oh, shit, my bad.
I know it got really quiet for a second. I'm driving.
I thought I'd be a teacher or.
Let me rewind it back to the part where he talked about it again. Here it is again. Hood. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Assistant coach on a basketball team.
Is basically saying, I'm going to go from being a millionaire to working for nothing, which seemed to be our overall MO, both you and me. But yeah, that was a big leap.
Yeah.
To walk away from a very secure, lucrative career and pursue something that you love.
And you.
So he was a bond trader, Hood. And he said, man, I'm going to go coach basketball. And I just found something interesting about him, Hood. Listen to this.
Wanted to be around them boys.
Listen to this, Hood. You can't see this. Craig and Kelly Robinson, that's Obama's sister, her brother. They have filed a lawsuit alleging racial bias at the University School of Milwaukee. They were interviewed by the Journal Sentinel Education Reporter on April 19th. Here are some excerpts from that interview. This was 2 years ago, Hood. This is the former president's brother man-in-law. Here's some excerpts from that interview.
My work did. So we moved here for a job, and so it was pretty quick. You know, we had to find a school quickly, but no excuses. We thought we had picked a great school.
Look at this nigga. Look at this nigga.
We moved into the area in August of 2016, and we were looking for the best school for our children, and we have moved.
So they have children, okay.
For the years, and so we wanted.
This is this must be his second marriage. Okay.
Wanted to make sure that we provided a good foundation for our students. We wanted a school that was diverse and inclusive.
It's so interesting. Look at him. This has to be a couple of years ago. Look at him compared to like the way he is in the video they put out last night and that conversation, his body language, his outfit, everything about him. This looks almost like a kind of different sort of guy.
Well, you know, supposedly this was once a millionaire and he living rather humbly. You know, that's what I noticed. And here he is crying about racism after having just made been a millionaire just a couple of years ago. It's rather interesting. Don't you find that interesting? Like, he's crying about racism. You just was making $1 million a year.
They always do that.
It's kind of
That's
weird.
why the whole move is dying out, because America has the richest victims in the world, bro. The two can't exist forever.
Totally weird here, man. And he looks, I mean, you know.
Google the best school in the area. So that's why we chose it.
At the onset of COVID, right.
So he just gave the timeline. This is right around COVID.
Our 11 and 9-year-old were virtual learners because they stayed home, and we weren't going to risk anything. And so that allowed us to look into the classroom, and what we saw was a repeated use of racial and ethnic stereotypes in actual school assignments. And then there was also a disregard for children who were not physically present in the classroom. And then thirdly, there was an insensitivity to socioeconomic status. And we raised these concerns and we used the word bias, but it wasn't like, okay, you guys got to fix this or we're out of here. We were like, well, here, we're happy to kind of help you work.
We're going to help you fix your racial problem here.
That's how the mob works, bro. We're going to help you with your security.
Yeah. We're going to help you solve your problem. You didn't have it before we got here. But now that you got one, we're going to help you solve it.
Work with you through these issues, you know, because it was during the time when folks were trying to understand the whole George Floyd situation, Black Lives Matter. So
shit. He went in there with a hustle. He used the George Floyd mallet to beat them over the head with.
We are willing advocates for working together to avoid certain bias situations. And once we raised our concerns, they summarily dismissed our 11 and 9-year-olds. But once the community heard that our kids got kicked out, we heard from a number of people and realized that our situation wasn't unique and that this was a pattern of behavior.
So what he did is he came in there and rabble-roused the community, stirred up shit, and got other people to see imaginary problems that they hadn't seen or had expressed any concern about up until this point. That's how I took it. He said, when I got there, everybody else started telling me that they were having problems too, but they hadn't said anything. Couldn't have been that big of a problem.
And once we heard that, then we felt a responsibility to do something more, because we would feel awful if we just packed up and left and left other families holding the bag. And
yet he did pack up and leave.
And so that was why we brought the lawsuit.
Well, what I will say is we did witness racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic biases, but the real egregious behavior here was how they reacted to when we raised the concerns. So I don't know that we want to get into the actual concerns, but like Craig mentioned, we partnered.
Why not get into it? Call these people out.
With the head of school. He asked us to share our concerns and our observations, and he called this a partnership. So we had.
Now they damn near in charge of the school. I mean, these people, man. I mean, they're like leeches. They come in, a virus, man, come in and just infect the whole body and take over.
Phone calls, we were on Zoom.
I mean, you think about it, man. You know how many parents that pay to send their children to their school, they can't get in touch or form a partnership with the head of the school. They come there with a racial grievance and they end up parlaying that shit into a partnership with the president or whoever of the school. Everybody else come along paying and no one can get in contact with the guy. He bogarted his way in with a racial grievance.
With him and other families of students who were learning from home. And we gave him feedback during these calls, and he was receptive, and we kept plugging along, and he appreciated the information we shared, so much so that on one call, he told me that I should be on his payroll for all the work that I was doing.
Well, you see that, there you go. You see it, Hood? She parlayed that shit into a payroll position. Race hustles. I be damned.
As well as
It's the formula, bro. That's exactly how it's supposed to go.
Man, hey, do you think they're gonna talk about this on the show? Shadow Wilson.
Doubtful. Well, when they do talk about it, they'll talk about it in the nicest terms. They'll never be the villains in their own story.
Why not share the knowledge? Teach other blacks how to run the racial racket, right? You know how many blacks don't know how to do this, right?
That's why you have to go to college. The game is to be sold, not told. Well, you thought you were learning how to build houses and cars and rocket ships? No, nigga. That's for white kids and Asians.
Hey, they need to get on their podcast, teach people how to run the racial racket.
For the next 5 years, because he was new to the University School of Milwaukee, and he would not have had this insight. We had a bird's eye view into our children's learning. We never expected to have to pay such close attention to that, particularly for our 5th grader. But when you hear things, you listen closer. And so we shared concerns, we brought him observations, and then, he also had said, I'll use your ideas, but I'll never give you credit. And while we weren't concerned about that, we never expected that this would be turned on us in a retaliatory form that it was.
Oh, it was turned on them? What do they mean by that?
I think they put the children out of school.
I gotta hear how that played out.
What I will say is that they have a
That's what's happening right now with the liberals. Everything they've done over the last couple of years is now kind of blowing up in their face. The George Floyd thing, we're snatching that back. We're painting over all the, we're painting over the George Floyd landmark in DC, where we're undoing a lot of this DEI stuff they put in. Like a lot of all their initiatives that they launched in the last 8 years are starting to get looked at and scrutinized and defunded.
Well, that's what happens when you build something on a fake foundation. You know what I mean? Like there was really no real movement, and so it only makes sense that it would be, as I say, in like a lion, out like a lamb. You know what I mean? Hey, Hood, since you mentioned the Black Lives Matter Plaza, I think this symbolizes it all. I'm not sure if you can see the screen, but I really want you to see this. I want you to see this, Hood. It's gonna put an ad up. Give me 5 seconds here, Hood.
Mambo yalikuwa bora.
Tell me what you see here, Hood.
Why are they jackhammering the street though? Oh, they're taking down those posts. Oh, okay. Did they have to put up like speed cones or something to stop people from putting skid marks on there? Like, what are they taking out? Those look like road barriers.
Oh shit! Come on. Ad came up again. Well, as you can see, what that is bricks laid in the street, right? Can you see that?
Okay, yeah.
So they're having to, like, I guess, break up those bricks that the paint is in. I don't know if they can just paint over those. They may have to break up those bricks.
Look at those posts, those little 3-foot posts in the ground. That looks like safety protection. Like if that's an actual street, why are those in there? They look like they put that up for a reason.
I can't remember. I don't know what angle I'm looking at. I could better tell you. This is right by the White House. So it could be some safety precautions. One of the things I want to point out to you is there really are no businesses where Black Lives Matter Plaza is. It's all unions. The AFL-CIO, trade unions all around here. And you may be able to see one right here in the background. And I long suspected this is how this was allowed to happen. Because if there were businesses here, they basically shut this street down for over a year, 2 years. And if there were businesses there was a hotel there, but otherwise they would suffer greatly. And it's right there by the White House. But by the fact that it's trade organizations and it was COVID, and these are very rich trade organizations, that they could afford to support Black Lives Matter by having this in front of their building. I mean, they had all kind of parties and bullshit and yoga and just, just black shit. Motherfuckers down there playing the bongos and, all that black shit. And anyway, I think it was partly subsidized by these trade unions that support the Democrats heavily here. But what I want you to notice, Hood, is I want you to look at who's destroying, what do they call it? Demoing Black Lives Matter Plaza. Take a look at the people. What they look like to you, Hood? What them people look like to you, Hood?
Just a regular fucking Mexicans.
Yeah. Do you remember when the blacks were running around this country tearing down the white man's statues? Remember that?
I told them to stop. They wouldn't listen to me. They called me a coon.
Well, you remember they had to go find white men. They had to have security and shit there for them white men because the blacks didn't know how to take down the statues. Understand, Hood? You go back and look at when they dug up Bedford Forest. Was it Nathan Bedford Forest in Memphis? They dug that motherfucker up out the ground. And they had to have security there to make sure, because I think they hired somebody black and they had to have security there. Well, I want you to know, there ain't no security here.
This is a bit morbid, perhaps, but there was a guy.
I mean, there were other statues too. Hood.
Well, hold on. There was a guy at one of these statue fellings, right, when they tore the statue down, and one of the statues actually it fell right on his head, and I think it paralyzed him. He might have died a while after, and I thought that was an appropriate sacrifice to the gods.
To the Black Lives Matter God. It hit him where it didn't count. It hit his head. The last part of his body that he used. But Hood, man, look at all these Hispanics, man. Destroying the Black Lives Matter temple. Isn't it almost kind of like symbolic of what's happening out here on the streets?
You know what cracks me up? I don't know. For some reason, my mind just went here. Did you watch Wakanda 2? Like Black Panther 2? Do you know the story of that?
Vaguely, man. I don't watch this shit.
Well, basically, Wakanda was attacked and damn near destroyed. All the strong warrior women of Wakanda were taken out by a wet Mexican, a literal wetback. I swear to God, he was a Mexican. It was Mexican Atlantis. It was a wetback metaphor. I shit you not. And he kicked the holy crap out of them bald-head bitches, bro. They was glorious. And I was like, you know what? Hollywood's trying to tell us something, because Hollywood's always trying to tell us things. You just, you got to learn how to read the tea leaves. But I'm thinking about what you're saying now, and it just reminded me of all those swimming Mexicans in Black Panther 2 that beat the hell out of Wakanda. It was very symbolic of the times ahead.
Yeah. No security needed. Why don't you, Black Lives Matter meant so much to them during this time, and here we are tearing down their crown achievement here, their statue here. Why don't you think there was so little black resistance to this? They're dismantling. This is Chocolate City, baby. Where the chocolate at? Telling these Spanish, don't do this. No security necessary. They're just out here dismantling what we built right here. It all went away like a lamb.
Most of what we had was stolen money and other people's interest. It wasn't really, organically or internally black held. And so that's kind of the issue here. And I've been talking about this for weeks, ever since Doge hit the street. When you see the government cutting waste and fraud, when they cut the fat from the government, it tends to be a lot of women. And within that group of women, there's obviously a lot of black women there, especially when with particular agencies or whatever, you're going to hit a lot of black women. And so a lot of what we thought we had, we didn't really have.
Yeah, and I've been saying it for a long time, because I live here in the DC area, and, the richest black county for a very long time was Prince George's County. Let me tell you a funny story. I used to work for Prince George's County back in the day, and you would get in trouble at work, rolled up or something if you referred to it as PG County. Blacks love to shorten everything, and so they would shorten it to PG County. But down in Virginia, there's Prince William County, King George County. They don't shorten theirs because it's mostly white. But in Maryland,
when I came along, they shortened it to just PGC. They didn't even have time for the whole word.
Well, they just said PG. They don't even say PGC now. They just say PG. And the government was so sensitive about it, right? Because it was like derogatory. You got a nickname for the county. And, it's supposed to be held as kind of regal. And you would get written up at your job. Now, instead of improving the community to where PG might be, upstanding, have, a good meaning behind it, they wanted to punish you for just saying PG and do nothing about the meaning behind PG. That's really what the problem was. When you think PG, when you hear PG, you think crime, violence. But they're the blackest community, richest black county in the country.
Right.
And this is where their mind is. Just don't say it.
It was the what do you call that? The respectability politics. That's what that was playing out in that little case, respectability politics. And the problem with diversity and DEI and all this help the Negro justice issues, if they have the unintended, or maybe intended, but they have the unintended effect of lowering standards and decorum for the sake of boosting the Negro. And I don't know if that's a worthy trade-off.
I want you to look at this right here. I have a buddy that writes tickets out there to what's on the screen at the MGM in PG County. And they've had to institute a curfew within it's probably been there 5-10 years. They've had to institute a curfew for young black teens. And I've talked about it here. I mean, this is $1 billion development, casino, convention center, hotels. And they've had to institute, the whole damn place was built around keeping blacks to a minimum, from the parking. There's no street parking. It's mostly parking decks, and everything's paid parking. If you do park on the street, it's all to keep the blacks out. No cruising and shit like that. And so now they've instituted curfew. And so the guy in the chat, Ryan, said he was at the casino yesterday. It was rough, man. Yeah, and we had a lady call in here, Ryan, who works over there at the outlet. She said, yeah, it is indeed rough over there. But go ahead, Hood. Yeah, this is they're destroying new things and old.
I like to frequent the far right circles online, and one sentiment I hear repeated often is the new American dream is to just make enough money to avoid the blacks, bro.
Yeah. I have a buddy that he said that's his worst fear is to not have enough money to where he can't live away from them, and he calls in from time to time, and he feels like it's his worst fear, man, is not be able to rise above them. But again, I think this picture here, this still shot here on the screen, man, this is a black city. We have a black mayor, Hood, black city council. We have white sympathetics who are also on the council. They could have hired. How many blacks do you think it would have taken? 100, 200?
That's two questions. It's an issue of competence, individual level, and then management on like a municipal level, right? But I was going to ask you something right before you kicked that to me, because I was thinking about the issue of black leadership, and I pick on black women in leadership a lot because they're in style, and they put them in my face, so I got to talk about them.
Yeah.
But how many black leaders, period? How many black mayors do you know that were like really great?
I think for them to be great, really they have to get the hell out of the way and let the business run itself. The business will run itself.
Like I was young, so I can't speak directly to this, but was Dinkins a great mayor for New York City? Because I was kind of like a boy, like a little boy at the time.
The worst. He only got one term. I think he's the worst.
Well, you see where I'm going here. So, who was the great black mayor that we can point to take inspiration from?
I think in my lifetime, I would probably point to Anthony, the mayor that was here in DC. He was I think he was a single black man. He's about 50 something. He was real clean. He had a professional career as an accountant for Arthur Anderson, one of those accounting firms. Real clean guy. Pretty good education, like pedigree. And he wasn't involved in any scams, anything like that. Because he had made a good living for himself. After that, then we had, younger Kappas and shit like that, fraternity kind of guys. And I think it's going all downhill from there. But he wasn't black enough. He was competent, but he wasn't black enough. He was kind of
he was light-skinned, wasn't he?
Right. He was kind of like the Sharp James, Cory Booker dynamic that you had in Newark. Where Sharp James was the hood nigga, right? And well, no, it wasn't Sharp. Well, yeah, it was Sharp and Cory. Sharp James was the hood nigga. Cory was like the, the nice guy, And so we end up going. I forget what I was going, but yeah, we end up going to. He was kind of a nice guy, kind of like a Cory Booker, but cleaner and more professional. He had a real career. And after that, it's been all downhill from there. But the one mayor that we have right now, she's a woman. She adopted a child, so she didn't have children. I'm not sure if she's gay or not. That's the speculation. But I don't think she's greedy. You understand? She probably just has low ambitions, relative to trying to get rich. She's not greedy. And so she's been able to just more or less stay out of the way of business and let them do what they know how to do best. I think it's the greedy ones, the younger ones, that want to get some of that money. And this is their only opportunity, so they got to strike. And that's why you see so many of the younger ones going to prison for corruption. That's my opinion. What do you think?
I think there is something to say for the new young bucks coming along and having less traditional rules, just a less traditional outlook on how things should work. Because as time goes on, you got like your kind of revolutionary cadre coming up. So like after maybe the 80s, definitely by the 90s, just about anybody coming up in black politics has sort of funneled through like revolutionary politics in one way or another, or the revolutionary culture. They learn all those lessons on the way. And I think that just a lot of ways.
Yeah, again, I've said one of the reasons why, I think they have such problems, the ones that are corrupt. This picture tells 1,000 words in that the mayor of DC didn't know anyone, not one black person, that she could have given this deal to. You see what I'm saying? Now, maybe she could have a middleman sit in between this company and, pay in the government and pay the middleman and he pay them. But he can't hire any black workers.
Well, I don't really care for these guys because the whole point of electing black people.
Well, this is nothing but demo here, man.
You spread the network to other areas, right? This is how all the other groups have used their sort of criminal or underworld advantage or whatever. The Italians, the Irish, the fucking Chinese, everybody else has been able to parlay that into something a little bit more substantial for the group at large. But I don't know if you can say that for the black people.
Hood, I was talking earlier about blacks and what they spend their money on. And if you look at what's on the screen, was it like a backhoe or some kind of earth moving equipment right here? You see it? Is that a backhoe? Deer? I don't know what the fuck that is. Let's just call it a backhoe for the sake of argument. You see it?
Yeah, I'm driving, bro. I can't steer close.
Okay, well, Well, anyway, I was looking at all these rappers, man, and the jewelry that they buy. And I mean, instead of buying backhoes and forklifts and front loaders, they buy jewelry, man. And that is why I think that when Muriel Bowser had to call up a company to get that Black Lives Matter shit off the street, the only black she knew they spent all their money in jewelry.
Well, I mean, the issue with like the entertainment crowd, and we're learning more and more about how this works as time goes on, right? They're not free people in the way that we think they are, right? They can't do the things that we think they should be doing. They are under some kind of obligation in one way or another. So even them buying jewelry, they have to spend that money on jewelry as opposed to useful things.
Why do you think that is?
Because that's the plan. That's their role, is to be that distraction. Like the dancing monkey has a job. He has a place in the ecosystem, you know?
Well, let me play this for you, Hood. You're from Northeast, right? You're from Northeast, right?
Yeah, I'm from the city.
Okay. You're from New York. Okay, cool. I want to get your perspective on this. Good. I'm glad someone up here from New York. This is perfect. This is perfect. Hood, I want to get your perspective on this. Give me one second. I'm pulling it up right now. Oh, this is perfect, Hood. I'm glad you're up here right now because I want you to hear this. This is Jim Jones here on the Joe Budden podcast, and he says, "What?"
I had learned late in life, you did, because somebody told me that, bro. You know how to make a lot of money, but how much business you know how to make? Start making business, and then business gonna make you money. You ain't got to talk to nobody no more.
What year was like your first hip hop check?
The first hip hop check, the diplomat check Cam gave me 75,000, maybe 01 or 02.
25 years. Because you know my brain going immediately go to real estate and what Brownstone cost in Harlem 25 years ago.
Bro, I would have been $500 million up. Easy. I had one person that told me, you did? Like,
yeah.
I
would have been $500 million up if I just had one nigga like John Galt to tell.
$50,000, $60,000 a show, $100,000 a show at the height of my shit. I could have been buying houses
per show.
You did, and that's the advantage that a lot of South artists have on us also. But that's because they didn't grow up in a big city, so dormant, and everybody stacked on top of each other. They grew up in houses, so all they know is how to buy houses or the deed. Your name signed on the deed. If your grandmother loses house, that's your house. So that's in, you know what I mean? That's in they.
And it don't be no projects like that down south.
No, nothing is houses.
Ain't no
so
projects
they learn the financial literacy because it's there
by default.
Yes, by default. You know what I mean? So it's like they have a big event. We didn't. We grew up in the projects. We grew up hustling and learned how to buy fly sneakers.
Wouldn't that be?
He said he grew up hustling and had no understanding of a house because the government provided him a house, a housing project. He said, man, shit, what the fuck I need a house for? The government got it. The government got me. And he said, but them people down south, the government didn't really have them. They had to provide their own way. And so that was their leg up on us. In other words, he's saying the government handicapped him by providing him a house and never allowed him to get out and get his own house. He just lived in the projects. As the government
There's some truth in that, I guess.
You think so?
Well, yeah, that's the welfare dependency trap that people talk about. You know, why would you even learn how to pursue these goals when they're already kind of met for you in some adequate fashion? People only hunt out of hunger.
Damn. That's very interesting. So clearly, he's not going to be buying a backhoe with his money. He's not going to be buying backhoes. So Muriel Bowser is not going to have a black man to hire. Because Jim Jones did buy a backhoe and rent it out to people. At least he could be in the mix. Right? But he bought jewelry. And now he has regrets. He could have bought houses and been up $500 million. the Hispanic man buying these big ass deer. What's it, Ryan? What is this? A front loader? Backhoe? Buying backhoe. And so when it came time to destroy that fucking bullshit movement that the Democrats use to make money off of and get donations, when it came time to destroy it, they had to bring the white man and the Hispanic to destroy the black movement. That's really amazing. Like, demo is usually the dumbest, easiest shit you can do in construction. Anyone ever done demo before? It's the dumbest shit you can do. It's the lowest hanging fruit.
I think the flagger is the lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah. True enough. Flagger is the lowest hanging fruit.
But no, I think what it speaks to is the lack of actual economic utility from the black community. Because why aren't there businesses big enough to take that bid?
Well, I think most of them have gone into businesses above this because, again, if a black man buy a backhoe, he got to hire somebody to run that motherfucker. He ain't gonna know how to do it, or it just be him. Like, I guarantee you, some of these people live together. I guarantee you, at least two of these people live together.
Yeah, they do have that kind of setup too. That's a whole other thing too. But here's the other thing I noticed. You know, for as much as people talk about like black owned this and that, like all those products in Target that are allegedly black owned, when it comes to these big jobs like municipal jobs, those are the things that should be black owned. If you want to buy black, that's the kind of things that people need, because, you know, buying from your favorite black candle maker is useless. It means nothing in the grand scheme of things. But if the city needs work done, that's where it should be a black owned thing, you know, if you care about that sort of deal. But again, black leadership doesn't really have a mind for that.
I think they just want to smooth talk people to make a living, to be honest with you. You know, they much rather make a living smooth talking and get elected than work. You know, did I play that clip for you from that African that called into the channel? And he was talking about African Americans, and he said, let's see, I think I have it. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see, I have it right. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, here it is. All right, I'm pulling it up now. And this is one of African Americans are privileged, who's been here 2 years. I just asked him, do you think the Black Americans here are privileged? Listen to what he says. Think the African Americans are privileged?
Yeah, to be born here.
Really?
Yeah.
And you think do you think they kind of don't take advantage of it?
That's the more advantage, yeah. The only problem, they don't take advantage of it. I don't know if they are not aware of it or whatever, but they have to take advantage of it because they're born here, they're citizens here, you know, but it seems like they don't take advantage of it. There are a lot of opportunities here. You know, there are lots of opportunities here that could make someone rich. But the other thing is kind of hard though to be rich in the US. It's kind of hard, but
to be rich. Yeah, I want to get to this point right here, Hood. This is where he explains it all, I think, right here.
I don't feel like, it's hard everywhere, but trust me, the US is better than most places.
Now, what are you doing? What are you doing for a living here?
I work in Whole Food.
You work at Whole Food?
Yes.
Do any Black Americans work there?
Yeah. A lot of Black Americans here.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. Which one do you work at? 14th Street?
Black American.
Do you find it?
No, Georgetown.
How is it working with, you work in Georgetown, how is it working with the African Americans in Whole Foods? Do you see a difference in working with them versus other people? Hood, what do you think he's going to say right here?
Yeah, you were silent for a second there. I thought something was wrong.
My bad. What do you think he's going to say right here? What do you think he's going to say right here?
I was thinking about my own reaction, honestly, and we're probably going to say something similar. I don't always enjoy working with most Black people. I got to tell you, because a lot of Black folk, they don't outgrow the ghetto or hood or whatever, and so you wind up like in weird work energy with Black folk, because it'd be, fuck this and that, and niggas be just having this awkward. I just want to do my job and go home, bro. I don't want to get caught up in your Negro feelings and all that shit. I don't want to be flexing like I'm a gangster at work. I got 8 hours and then I'm out of here, bro. I can be a gangster when I get home, and I don't even want to do that. The whole thing irks me sometimes. So I bet he's had similar weird experiences.
Well, I want you to listen to what he says, and then I'm going to translate it back to that Black Lives Matter plaza being destroyed here. Take a listen.
I think most of them like to work in the customer service instead of being inside doing like the actual, like, I don't know how to put it. Instead of working inside, like for example, the prepare food, the bakery, the meat department, but most of them, I think most of them they don't like to work inside. They don't like to work. They don't like to do hard work.
Did you that? Did y'all niggas hear that? What did he say? He said?
But most of them,
I can believe that.
They don't like to work inside. They don't like to work. They don't like to do hard work.
They don't like to do hard work. And that's why when hard work is needed, nobody calls them up.
My name is Skip Townsend. I'm
Right?
a former mayor.
Who's going to call up some people that don't like to do hard work? That man ain't been here for 2 years. And that's the conclusion that he's come to. You can say he's racist, stupid, whatever the hell you want to call him. But he's drawn his conclusion in 2 years. That's the way it goes, right? Anyway, Hood, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I mean, that is, 2 years he's formed an impression of Blacks, and he says it could have gone either way. It could have been positive or negative, and it just happened to be negative, right? It's not due to racism, I don't think. That's due to his experiences. So if he was a hiring manager, he's going to keep that in the back of his mind, right? He find himself in position to hire people. In the back of his mind, he's going to say, well, if it's a job that requires hard work, it's probably not a job for a Black person. That's probably what he was saying. Is that fair?
Possibly, yeah. I don't fault him for it at all, though. I get it.
I'm not faulting him. I'm just saying this is just the way of the world,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the way of the world. Anyway, well, back to Michelle Obama. We'll finish out on her brother here. I had forgotten that he sued someone for racism. That's pretty interesting. We'll take a look at a little bit more of that too. Why he's these
system that they established last year. When we noticed bias, we decided we were going to report that. Upon my first report, I was told that the reporting system wasn't working. I then shared the report with the head of school, who then challenged me on whether or not it was a bias. And then the second time we put in a bias report, it was shortly after then that our son was dismissed through a letter. And what I would also note is that bias reporting system no longer exists at the University School of Milwaukee. We were trying to figure that out ourselves because we received a letter that said that our fifth grader would not be allowed to return the following semester. And we wondered how one student could be dismissed and the other was allowed to stay.
Or why would we send
another child back
there if you don't want?
And the interesting point of all of this is I was a very active parent, and I had been in the school when the students were in school live. I had always held.
They're like two Karens.
I was a very active member of
that's
the
true.
Parents Association. I was on committees. We were known. We were a known entity in the school. So when you dismissed one of our children, it raised a question for us, like, well, so does that mean I still get to come back to school next year and be my student's room parent, my fourth grader? And how does that work? And I don't think it was until that point that they realized they hadn't thought that through. And so then they ultimately dismissed our other child. But what we learned through talking to other families is this is not unique. This has happened. And one thing that they have done to other families is they will say one child's, either one child can't come back, the other one can.
So Hood, what they did was they went around looking.
Is that a public or private school? Real quick, I'm sorry. Is that a public or a private school they're suing?
Private school, right?
I thought so.
They went around looking for other parents who had a grievance, right? Hood, I don't know if you remember this. There was a black girl who worked at Google a while back, and she wanted to prove that blacks and whites at Google were being paid disproportionately. So she was going around with her coworkers collecting salaries and putting them into a spreadsheet, keeping track of, trying to more or less see if there was a pattern of racial discrimination by income. And like, that is what these people are doing. They went around to other parents who hadn't expressed any concern about any racial thing and said, hey, did you have a problem? Did anyone look at your son a certain way or something? And then, people say, well, maybe, they don't want to say no, right? You ask any black person never experienced racism. You ever experienced racism? Yeah. Somebody looked at me funny on the bus one time. White person.
I think this is like a version of ambulance chasing, right?
Yeah, it's ambulance chasing. They're basically building a ghetto class action lawsuit, right? A ghetto class action grift by going around and summoning up other people that have the same energy that they have and see something that really isn't there and take their demands to the president. And as she said, he offered her a paid position. Just like Colin Kaepernick got a paid position, got paid from Nike and all these other people when he saw a grievance that wasn't there. When it didn't work for him, he started kneeling. And some of the blacks got mad at Colin Kaepernick because he took all the money. And in this case, she got the job and the rest of them weren't going to get a job. They found their grievance. They found their grift.
Or the parents aren't allowed on campus, but the kids are allowed to remain in school.
Well, hold on real quick, because this is the reason why I asked the question. If it's a private school, I can understand a public school. There's a procedure for kicking a kid out of a public school, because then you have rights issues and all that. But if it's a private school, this is a relationship where both parties have to want to do business with one another. So why can't the private school kick you out for whatever reason?
Well, I think her grievance was they should have kicked both of them out initially. If they had kicked both of them out initially, she really wouldn't have much of a basis. But by the fact they kicked one out and then kicked the other one out, that was her reason.
Just what exactly?
I'm sorry, but go ahead.
See, I mean,
I think they went there for the grievance. You're breaking up a little bit. I'll play a little bit more.
That's an interesting question because I learned in early spring that there was there had been a math test in previous years that fifth graders could take to pass out of sixth grade math. So they would essentially be going into seventh grade math. And because at that point, and still to this day, my student, our son, was receiving straight A's. And I was actually working with him all year at home doing math. And so I inquired about this math test and the head of school did not know about it. Understandably, he was new to the school. So we kept inquiring and still received no information. So in our last phone conversation with the head of school, we said, could you please get us the information about this math test? And he said, oh yes, I'll give you a call back in 2 days. I'll give you that information. Which, interestingly enough, at the same time, we had asked him if he could also make sure that the head and the assistant head of